These people are being paid just like all the other protesters that we've seen that were funded by George Soros. 3 Texas doctors traveled to Washington, D.C. in hopes of attending the confirmation hearing of Judge Kavanaugh. The 3 claim they actually watched protesters outside getting paid to protest against the Scottish nominee. Author and commentator Adam W. Schindler interviews 3 Texas doctors who traveled to Washington, D.C. to attend the confirmation hearing for Judge Brett Kavanaugh. While waiting in line, they say they witnessed protesters being paid in cash to cause trouble in the hearing and in the public line to get in Tuesday on the Capitol Hill. I'll go ahead and roll the clip right here.
Hello, I'm Dr. Tom Schlueter from Texas. We came here just to participate in the hearings, to get in the line. They told us, be out here maybe 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:30 at the latest, to get in line so we could go inside to hear the hearings. We got here about 8:15. There was already about 100 people in line, and most of them would be probably classified by me as opposing everything that is going on with Judge Kavanaugh. And so we began to see a process of things unfolding while we were standing in line that kept the line from going ahead. One of the things was that there were people that had come along, and it's starting to rain, people that were coming along and had a bag of money, and the people would hand them a piece of paper and then they would give them money. So we knew that money was being exchanged for some of the people to be here just to protest. There was no depth to what their understanding was or anything. They were just here to be a protester. And they were actually told, we heard them say this and instruct them, when you go in, we want you to yell, to scream, and even to possibly get arrested. So that was some of the process that we saw happening.
What I observed is that it was part of the strategy to hold places for all the people that were coming later. And when that happened, I brought to the attention of the staff, and I suggested that they give us physical numbers because they were just letting people come in and without making the line. So it was part of an organized effort to protest. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Chris Dundas from Corpus Christi in Texas. We're up here for these hearings. I gotta tell you, it was very sad. This is a very time-honored procedure in the process, and these people, these young people, and mostly young people, some old people, but they seem to have no heartfelt convictions about why they were here. Again, if you had to pay somebody to protest, that's a good tell. I believe that in a process like this, it's such a time-honored institution. It's such a time-honored process of righteous government and civil government. It was just totally going to be sabotaged by these guys moving around and disrupting things and being arrested and being proud of it. And some women came back from the hearings after their turn in the chamber, and they seemed disappointed that they were not arrested. So I asked that the Lord bless these people and show them what's going on, and bless this process, and I know that His will is going to prevail. And bless everybody, and thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Burton Purvis from Arlington. I shared with these other 3 guys this experience. It's quite an enlightening time to stand. I took off my credentials and walked among the people to get more information and to be more acceptable to those around us. Quite interesting as we listened to their attitudes and actions about why they were here and what they wanted to do. I think the most telling was listening to them giving names and addresses and giving personal information. So when they were arrested, and then heard of the things that were going on inside and celebrated those who were keeping a record of who was that got arrested and who'd been carried off, without any regard for any open discussion or even possibility of having a varied opinion or being transferred or being convinced of anything. Just was for the purpose of disruption and to have some kind of destruction of the process. No honor, no respect, just destruction of the process.
I mean, the left is totally ridiculous. I mean, how many times are we going to have to catch them actually paying people to protest? It's not a protest if you're being paid to do it. It sounds like you're more being paid to cause disruption, which is not upheld by our Constitution at all. But the liberal lunatics will never, ever understand any of this at all. And the whole agenda they're trying to throw out there is trying to say that this guy is under Trump's wing and he's going to do every single thing in Trump's power and all this other thing. I'm trying to put an ideology out to everybody else on the left that this guy is going to make everything totally unfair for them, as if it isn't already for us on the right. But Kavanaugh proved them wrong in this statement right here, when he was asked who he owes loyalty to.
If at the end of the process, of this process, you are confirmed to the Supreme Court, which I expect you will be, what sort of loyalty will you owe to the president? How will that loyalty differ from the loyalty you owe to, say, the American people?
Senator, if confirmed to the Supreme Court and as a sitting judge, I owe my loyalty to the Constitution. That's what I owe loyalty to. And the Constitution establishes me as an independent judge, bound to follow the law as written, the precedents of the Supreme Court as articulated, subject to the rules of stare decisis, and I would do so.
And that statement right there just crushed all their dreams and fantasies about this guy being Trump's wingman here. I mean, what we're seeing here is literally just, elections right around the corner, so these people are desperate and trying to do whatever they can to try to regain control of everything. And when I mean desperate, I mean really desperate now. Like the piece that just got released by the New York Times. On Wednesday, the New York Times printed an anonymous op-ed by a senior member of the Trump administration supposedly revealing that members of the administration are hemming in Trump's worst instincts. The piece titled, "I am part of the resistance inside the Trump administration," explained, "I work for the president, but like-minded colleagues and I have vowed to thwart parts of his agenda and his worst inclinations." The piece explains that Trump is ignorant and immoral and that loyal Americans must do everything within to curb his worst excess.
Good to be here. Let's start with the president and this anonymous quote by some worm that allegedly is in the who is allegedly a part of the administration. Your thoughts about where the New York Times is?
My thoughts are that, first of all, the New York Times would have vetted this very carefully about who it is, so I don't have any doubts about that. My feeling is that yet another example of partisan politics run riot, is the way I would put it.
Right.
It's happening everywhere, and it's not good for the democracy. I don't think it's good for U.S. security overseas. It can tempt people to think the wrong things about that we have a weak government. And I was shocked that the individual in question would not resign and put it out there under his own name.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. Anyone who would betray the man they work for as president of the United States is a delusional, egomaniacal, self-aggrandizing jackass. I don't see any other way to call it. I would think that person would, I hope, stand out clearly amongst the top officials of the administration.
See, this is not like you work for a big business and you don't agree with the CEO or something like that.
National security.
This is you work for the United States government and you work for the Constitution. And if you really don't agree with it, you shouldn't be in there. And you have special obligations that are far larger than people who work at most kinds of organizations.
Yeah, this would also be a call. This would also be a call to the deep state, whether it's in the FBI. We've seen the corruption that is rampant in its leadership, the Department of Justice. All of those people should be walking out the door because they are appalling in their disloyalty, the ignorance of their conduct, the political corruption that they have, with which they've stained that department and that.
President Donald Trump demanded that the New York Times hand over the anonymous official who disparaged the president in a recent op-ed for the national security reasons in a Wednesday tweet. It may be cold comfort in this chaotic era, but Americans should know that there are adults in the room. We fully recognize what is happening, and we are trying to do what's right, even when Donald Trump won't, the anonymous official stated. The official described a cabal of administration officials actively circumventing the president's daily desire. The op-ed comes just as experts from Bob Woodward's new book on the administration are being released, showing a similar culture to the senior aides who do not think highly of the president and work to temper his behavior. Trump previously called the official gutless, and White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders released a scathing statement saying nearly 62 million people voted for President Donald J. Trump in 2016, earning him 306 Electoral College votes versus 232 for his opponent. None of them voted for a gutless anonymous source to the failing New York Times. The press secretary ended her statement calling for resignation, saying the individual behind the piece has chosen to deceive rather than support the duly elected president of the United States. He's not putting the country first, but putting himself and his ego ahead of the will of the American people. This coward should do the right thing and resign. And he should resign and actually admit who he is and not be a coward and sit there and try to hide it, because we already know that we could find out who he is. But it's just a total disgrace that you actually hold a government position that's paid for by our tax dollars and then don't even honor the people that actually elected Donald Trump to begin with. It's just completely disgusting. I've never seen anything like this before in my life. Now, I'm only 33, but throughout my whole entire lifetime, I've never seen a president treated this bad before from all these different organizations, companies, parties, Hollywood, and everything else. I mean, this is 100% proof that he isn't the deep state. He doesn't work for the deep state, and people should realize that by now. This is literally an all-out effort from the global elitists trying to do anything that they can to regain control of our country, because Trump literally destroyed their empire the day he won the election. It was not in their plan at all. And the sad part is we have to witness this, and we have to watch the circus just go back and forth while it seems like nothing is being done about it. These people are just literally overrunning the president, and it's just totally disgusting. But their days are numbered, and that's why they are panicking so bad. Their days are so limited right now, and they're going to try to do anything that they can in their power to try to twist and construe every single thing that Trump does, like we already seen so far, and they're trying to go up to the highest levels of psyops and everything just to try to make their point proven. I mean, we have no clue what's going to be around the corner next. Is there going to be a false flag? We just don't know. But they're going to do whatever they can to try to get President Trump out of office before the elections. So we just have to stay strong and make sure we all vote. We got to vote. So we have to get rid of all these crazies out of office. I mean, they're being paid by our tax dollars to sit there and trash the president that we elected. Does that make any sense? What do you guys think about all this? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to be able to support my channel and my buddy list project, please just click the tip jar link in the description below, or you can also become a monthly Patreon subscriber, which would help out a lot. All I'm asking for is just $1 or $2 a month, because the censorship really vamped up. They demonetized this channel back in June, trying to silence me, and it's not going to work. And I thank all the supporters that's been helping me out through this, because if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to have the time to do these anymore. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
A few years ago, ideas that we talked about were thought to be fringe ideas, radical ideas, extremist ideas. Those ideas are now mainstream.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless c***.
What's Uncle Tom but for white women who disappoint other white women?
One way you get rid of Trump is a crashing economy, so please bring on the recession.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Please subscribe to our channel, like our video, and comment.